Lawmakers made some major accomplishments at this week's special session in Tallahassee. Property insurance and condo reform are now signed into law. But plenty of other things did not happen, despite lawmakers on the right and left urging approval. Our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders has a look at how long we may have to wait for some of those changes to happen, if at all.
Property insurance reform was always the focus of this week's special session. Even so, from the get-go, there was a lot of buzz of going beyond it to tackle other issues that couldn't get across the finish line during the regular 60-day session. Here are a few of the big ones and where they stand. Democrats this week trying to curb what they say is a rent crisis in Florida.
People are struggling. This is something that's within our power to do, not over time, but today.
Rent stabilization and an expansion of existing programs were sought, but the GOP majority wasn't interested. That's after passing new tax cuts and fully funding the now smaller state housing trust. It's unclear if views will soften by next session, despite ongoing criticism.
They aren't attuned to the needs of people and what's really going on.
Senate Dems also wanted to vet Florida's new Secretary of State before the midterms. Conservative Republican Cord Byrd was called an ally of freedom and democracy by the governor, while those on the left have concerns he's too partisan. Even so, the minority leader got a no from leadership and sounded understanding.
Quite frankly, we've got to be focused on this very, very large piece of policy that's in front of us, but it's something that we're going to continue to work on.
Confirmation now happening during the next regular session starting in March. Byrd holding the post in the meantime. Pro-life advocates also rallied for further abortion restrictions beyond the new 15-week ban. It didn't seem likely, though, as the governor never gave support to the idea when asked.
If you look at the protections that I signed into law a couple weeks ago, those were the strongest that Florida has seen in decades.
Republicans are already vowing to try again next year. Same with constitutional carry, which also didn't get anywhere this week. But supporters say it'll happen next March for certain, despite the recent mass shooting in Texas.
I just think in discussions with my colleagues, I think it's something we're going to do. We obviously, lots of other states have done it, and things seem to be going fine in those states. And so I do think we're going to be doing it here in Florida.
Another thing to consider is how the election will factor into all of this. Republicans passed a lot of controversial policy this year, and if voters reward them with more seats come November, we may see more polarizing bills come 2023. That's the latest out here at the Capitol. I'm Forrest Saunders reporting.